In this video, I am going to share my thoughts on the interior of the 2017 WRX Limited Edition. This particular car has a CVT transmission, but mostly everything applies to the stick shift as well. If you're thinking about getting this car, this will tell you what you can expect as far as the interior goes. Thanks for watching. So I'm using this wide angle lens to kind of illustrate how it feels like to be in the cabin of the WRX. If it's pretty open. I mean, you would think for a car this small that you'd be claustrophobic in here, but you're not. It's pretty open and it feels pretty nice, especially if you're a tall person and you kind of up here and you have plenty field of vision all around to have a comfortable sense of where you are and what's going on around you at all times. And part of the reason why that is because Subaru moved the side view mirrors to the door, and when they did that, they created all this room in front of the window where you have more view out of it, and it makes a big difference. And when you first get in the car, having never been in one before, you kind of get in and you wonder what there's something kind of odd about it. It feels nice and you're like, what is it? And until you realize that in most cars, the mirrors are placed up on the window and they take up a lot of your field of vision, and in this car they do not, which is great. So yeah, this is it. This is so the overall sense inside the car, as far as space goes, is great. You have a lot of room for a small car. So the steering wheel is one of my favorite things about the interior of the car. It's designed very well, and it fits just right in the hand, no matter which way you hold it. So it has these little bump outs right here. So when you're holding it like this, it feels very natural. It feels just right, and you feel like you're flying an airplane or something. I don't know. It just feels just right. And down here, it's kind of angled. It's not just round. So this also feels very nicely when you're holding it like this. So, and you can even hold it like this if you want. No matter which way you hold it, it feels just right. So if you're holding it like this, you can easily use your paddle shifter. So when you're driving the car in manual mode, you can hold it like this, and and it also feels perfect. The buttons are kind of standard. Okay, so right here you have your cruise control. These two buttons right here are your drive mode selectors. So on the right you have your sports and intelligent, and on the left you have sports, sharp, and intelligent mode. So you toggle between modes by just hitting those buttons, and you can do that on the fly while you're driving the car. You don't have to have the car off or anything like that. On the left side, these buttons right here control what you see on this screen up here. So I'm going to show you right now. There's nothing being displayed, so you can leave it off like that. This will show up whenever you're parked, so you can change different parameters, and that's in the manual. This will show what drive mode you're in at all times. You can switch it to a digital speedometer, or you could have a trip timer. You can scroll through any of those at any time you want while you're driving. These down here are your Bluetooth buttons, and it'll control all your audio functions for Bluetooth and your phone functions. Okay, and this button right here will control your volume and your track forward, track back, and then the middle one is your mute. Now, this button right here is my least favorite thing about the steering wheel. It's probably my least favorite thing about the whole interior of the car. I know it sounds petty, but this button pisses me off because I like to be able to use the button to turn the volume up and volume down, and I really can't. The whole button, okay, it's connected. So no matter which way you go, you're moving the entire button. So right off the bat, it's just a bad design. Okay, so if you're not exactly centered where you want to go, up or down, you might go to turn the volume up and then skip the track or something like that. And it's happened to me several times. Not only that, but the buttons are really slow. So I don't know why they did that, but it takes forever to turn the volume up or down with this button. So you have to leave it pushed forever. And it's much quicker to just use the head unit and turn it up. Much quicker and much better. So I just stopped using this button because it just pisses me off every time I do. I don't like it. I wish they would have designed that button differently. And actually separate the buttons so you don't have a chance of skipping a track when you try to turn the volume up or vice versa. So I guess it's a minor thing because you can always use the head unit, but I would have liked to have that ability because it is a steering wheel control after all. You know, it's the whole purpose is to be able to do things without having to remove your hands from the steering wheel and your eyes from the road. And I feel like this makes it very hard to do that. So minor thing. So another thing, this right here, I'm not necessarily a big fan of it. It's very contrasty, you know. It really pops, and so you can see the steering wheel is mostly really dark black. You know, you have the nice blue, and you have the nice red stitching on the inside of it, and then boom, this silver, you know, shiny thing right there. And then in the sun, it could be really bright too. So other than that, you know, it's also another minor thing, because you can, I know that they're trying to coordinate with other little things around the car, and that's fine, but you know, I wouldn't have necessarily approved of this design if I had been in the design team. Again, minor thing. Overall though, I really like the way it looks. It looks very nice, and I absolutely love the way it feels when you're driving. It feels great. Everybody who's driven the car just always comments on how nice the steering wheel feels, and I totally agree. Alright, so I'm not gonna go too in depth on the radio. The head unit, I've already done, you know, extensive videos on upgrading the sound system in the WRX. I'm just gonna go over a couple basic things. Okay, so it's your standard radio. This car comes with a 7-inch upgraded, so you have a lot of real estate there. It's nice. It's very functional, and it all works very well. So right now I'm home, so I can, you know, if I click on phone, it's going to take me to the Bluetooth phone. So it's connected to my cell phone right now, and it has your standard, you know, Bluetooth cell phone connectivity, everything you would expect, from messages to contacts to call history, etc. Okay, and it all, you know, I use it on a daily basis, and it works, you know, great. If you go to audio, it'll take you to whatever the last source of audio was. So in my case, FM, I can hit source and change it to, you know, Pandora or Bluetooth audio. So whatever's playing on my phone, I can hit on Bluetooth audio and hit that, or USB, and I'll show you USB where it's at in a second, or FM or AM or whatever. And you can move this like you know, like a phone, just like that. You can reorder them. So pretty neat. You hit settings, and it's, you know, all your settings are there. You hit apps, and it has apps. If you hit info, there's some other, you know, apps pre-installed with the car. Honestly, I haven't really used any of that, because I use my radio as a radio. So, and I don't care about stocks, and everybody has a cell phone. I don't need any of this crap, but it's there if you need it and you want to use it. I will say this: these buttons right here feel like a Gillette razor. Like, I'll be honest, it feels like a 5-blade Gillette razor on the sides. It's not going to cut you, and it doesn't hurt or anything, but it just feels that way. It's very peculiar and odd that they would pick that for the buttons, for something that you touch on a daily basis. It's just weird. It doesn't feel right. And it just, again, it goes to show, between this, the underpowered head unit, the crappy speakers, the button on the steering wheel, everything that sucks about the WRX has to do with the sound system. And it's unfortunate, because it's such a great car. So when you're buying a WRX, you're buying it for the engine, you're buying it for the all-wheel drive, the sports tuned suspension, and that's where Subaru threw all their money, you know, and that all that stuff is great. So at the end of the day, for the price of the car and what you get, this all kind of feels like an afterthought. But you know, it's functional enough. So besides your main screen, you also have these two screens up here. Okay, and the screen on the left is for your temperature controls, and it's always for your temperature controls. You can't change it. It's always going to show you the temperature or what setting you're in, just like that. Okay, so that's great. That's neat. You can always look there for your temperature. The screen on the right of that, you have this button right here, and you can use this button to change what that screen shows, and it's entirely up to you what you put on there and which screen you have up. Like right now, I have the boost screen, and right next to the boost, it shows you the acceleration percentage. So if you're paying attention on your intelligent and sports mode, to the 40 and 30% acceleration, so that you kind of turn the transmission from a variable transmission to a step transmission. So you could easily see that there. and then you can of course see your boost and your temperature and all your so this screen pretty much shows a lot of things in one screen, so I leave it there most of the time. But there's other screens, and this screen right here, you could change those parameters to show different things, like, you know, oil temperature and things like that. So you can mess with all these settings and have these screens show what you want to show, which is pretty neat. So I'm just gonna quickly scroll through these so you can kind of see. So there it is, pretty neat screen that can be changed to display whatever you want it to display. So there's nothing exotic about the shift knob. It's just your standard shift knob. It has the little button right here that allows you to basically unlock it. So you can, you know, put it in gear. To put it in manual mode, you just hit it to the left. That's all. So it has the nice red stitching, you can see. So it looks nice, but again, you know, nothing special about it. It's just your standard shift knob. So here you have a view of your dual cup holders and a coin tray. You could also see the buttons to activate the heated seats right here. So what I'll say about the cup holders is they're kind of small. They're not going to fit, you know, very large cups at all. It'll fit your standard fast food cups or whatnot, but it's not going to fit, you know, very large cups, and you can see how small they are. Another thing I'll say, it doesn't have a tray insert. So if you get it dirty in there, you know, you can't just pull an insert out and go clean it. You get dirty in there, you have to kind of get in with a rag or something and wipe it. So, you know, I wasn't necessarily a fan of that. I like being able to take the insert out when I need to clean it. But other than that, pretty standard. You also have your emergency brake right there, which, you know, just your standard emergency brake. So here you have your center console storage compartment, and here you'll find two USB ports. You'll find your auxiliary port in there also, and a lighter socket. The USB ports are for music and photos. Your auxiliary port obviously is for to connect to your phone via auxiliary if you don't want to use Bluetooth or whatnot. So the armrest actually has two buttons, one down here to open the armrest and one up here to adjust the height in case your elbow doesn't reach. So you can open it like that with a one underneath, and you push this button to adjust the height. I'm not entirely sure if this is an add-on for other trims, but as you can see, the Limited trim has it, so that's a good thing. Not much to say about the glove box except that it has your standard lock. So if you need to use valet parking, you can, and lock your valuables in there. I will say this. Right now I have in there the owner's manual that came with the car, and the two owner's manuals, and the wheel locks. Okay, and as you can see, there's pretty much no room left in there. So it's very, very small. So if you keep these manuals in there, you're not gonna have much more room for anything else. So there is a light over there. So at nighttime, if you need to, you know, go into your glove box for anything, it's gonna be lit. But again, not a lot of room in there. So here you can see your standard buttons that operate your sunroof, and you also have your buttons that operate the Starlink if you decide to use the Starlink security features. You have your lights. What I'll point out up here is what's missing, and what's missing is a compartment to hold sunglasses. Now that really gets on my nerves. I feel like there's room right here where they could have done something. I mean, I don't know, but it looks like there's room right there where they could have snuck in a little small compartment or something like that where you could put your sunglasses, but they didn't. You know, not a deal breaker, of course, but you know, it's kind of annoying. Right here you can see your rear view mirror, and this is an auto dimming rear view mirror, so the button's right here for it, and then you have your standard garage door opener buttons. So the car does have automatic windows, and that's great. In case you didn't know what that is the ability to just push the button one time to roll the window all the way up or all the way down rather than leave the button pushed. It's a feature that's becoming standard more and more. But one thing to note about that is that if you have to replace the battery for any reason or disconnect the battery for any reason, that'll stop working. And basically what happens there is that the car loses the calibration. It doesn't know that when the window's rolled all the way up or all the way down anymore. So you have to basically recalibrate it. And it's very simple to do. All you have to do, turn on the car, you roll the window, all the way up, and leave it pushed for 5 seconds. That's it, and it'll get the calibration back. And you have to do the same thing on the other side. So you can't do the other side from this side. You have to go on the other side and do the same thing. So this is the door. Obviously this is the driver's side door, and as you can see down there, there's a little cubby for storage and another cup holder, and there's a cup holder. Same thing on the other side too. So the leather seats, in my opinion, are pretty nice. They're plenty comfortable for me. And I say for me because I'm on a shorter end, so I really can't speak for a very tall person, but I think they're very comfortable. They look nice. They have a nice red stitching on the seams. So I've been on them for just over an hour straight, and I've never felt the need to get off of them. So I can't really speak for long trips because I haven't been on a long trip yet. But for riding around town and feeling very sporty, they do the job, and I really have no complaints in this department. So here's your rear seats. You could fit 3 people back there, but the reality of it is that only 2 people are going to be comfortable. There's just no way around it. This car is small, and all cars this size are going to be the same issue pretty much. But that middle seat's pretty narrow, so there's just no room there for 3 full-grown adults. There's room. They're just going to be really squeezed together. But 2 people can sit very comfortably back there. There's 2 cup holders down there, so that's a good thing. But this is your rear seats. So this is your trunk. I find the trunk pretty adequate for the size of the car. But under this cargo tray here, there is your spare tire under there. This is pretty neat. This cargo tray that comes with it is it's non-skid hard rubber, so you can put just about anything on there. It kind of resists sliding as you're driving. As you can see, I have an aftermarket sub and amp installed. The car does come with a kicker, a 10-inch kicker option that would go in this spot right here, out of the way, so you can still have use of most of your trunk. It's just over $500, and it's a pretty in-depth installation. So I decided to forego that and do the aftermarket because that cost me just over $200, and it's a better system. So I figured I didn't really need the OEM, so I went down that route. You can still fold down the seats, 60-40 split seats, just fine. So I just put a few random things in the trunk so you can get an idea of what you can expect to be able to fit in there without folding the seats down. So alright, to provide some final thoughts on the interior review of this 2017 WRX CVT Limited Edition. This car, the interior is exactly what you would expect for a WRX, and what I mean by that is it feels young. It's not overly luxurious. It's just not. It's not a luxury car. You're not gonna get in here and be blown away by how comfortable and quiet and it's just not. And that's not what people want in a WRX. That's not what I want in a WRX. So when you get in it, there's no surprises. You're not going to be blown away by the interior, but it's not gimmicky. You also don't have all these gimmicks that you're probably never going to use, and it's not fancy, but it's exactly what it needs to be for what the car is. So, and that being said, again, it feels young. Like this stuff right here is pretty hard plastic, the hard cheap plastic that's been around forever. This stuff scratches very easily. So this stuff right here is a little bit more forgiving because this is softer because the airbags are behind there. But point is, you could tell that Subaru saved some money by keeping the interior as simple as they could keep it, to keep the car in a certain price range. That's fine by me, because what I want out of this car is not a luxurious ride. If I wanted that, I would have bought a different car. In this car, I want the engine, I want the transmission, I want the all-wheel drive, I want the rally car out of it. So I want to get from point A to point B in the most fun way that I can. That being said, one of the few things that it's really off-putting a little bit is the road noise. The car does have a lot of road noise, and again, it's because to save money and not make the car something that it's not, Subaru is not going to go out of their way to put tons of soundproofing material all around the car. It'll make the car a little bit heavier, and it'll cost a lot more money. And you know what? That's not what you want anyhow. So if the sound, the road noise is something that you can't handle, this is not the worst car that you're gonna find as far as sound road noise goes. I had a 2003 Nissan Altima that was just atrocious, that I had to strip completely and put soundproofing throughout the entire car. This car's not like that at all. You know, it's pretty loud, but it's doable, it's livable. You know, you can manage. And if you don't like that, you can take it a little bit at a time and do your own soundproofing in it. You know, you can go in the trunk. There's tons of opportunities in the trunk to do soundproofing, and I'm doing it. You know, I'm going down that road very soon, and I've already done the doors. I put sound damping strips on the doors, and that helped a little bit. And eventually I'll probably get underneath and do some more soundproofing, but it's not something that I'm in a hurry to do because the car's fine the way it is. So it's just a thought. When you get in it, it is going to be a little bit, you know, a little loud, but the car feels young, and it is what it's supposed to be. It doesn't pretend to be a luxury car, and it's not. You know, if that's what you want, then just move on and buy something else. This is not that car. Thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. If you appreciate this kind of, you know, reviews and this kind of video, I have a lot of projects in the works, a lot of videos coming down the pike. So just please subscribe, and then, you know, you'll know when those videos come out. If you have any comments or suggestions or questions or whatever, just comment below, and I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you very much.